The district manager job is the most difficult position in the retail industry. And the reason for that is because the job right before that is that of a unit manager. And when you're a unit manager, you are in total control of what happens in your four walls. And you are responsible for the execution of the brand and business systems. And your job is dictated by the day-to-day needs of the operations. When you are a district manager, what you do on a day-to-day basis completely depends on the situation of your district. And there are many complexities of it that causes the challenges for that role. Some of them are the distance between the units. Others are simply the complexity of the industry in which this multi-unit organization is based out of. Another one is the fact that there's lots of people involved when it comes to overseeing multiple business units. And of course, not the most, the least but not least important, or the last but not least important one is the situation in each unit is completely different. In one unit, you may have a challenge with labor cost. In another unit, you may have a challenge with product cost. And yet in another unit, your issue may be service or maybe even turnover. So as you can see, the challenges are various, and being a unit manager does not necessarily prepare you to be a multi-unit leader. And here is where the challenges come for that role as a district manager or multi-unit leader. So in this video series, we are talking about the 7 critical responsibilities of a district manager. And in this particular video, we're going to talk about the second critical responsibility of a district manager, and that is the responsibility of planning. This is something that is completely different from the way that a unit manager plans, because most of the actions of the unit manager is driven by the day-to-day operations of the business. And so while there is a certain level of planning, it is not to the level of a district manager, because a district manager literally is going to define and dictate what they're going to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And it is not determined by the operations, but by the needs of their district. And here is where this critical responsibility of planning comes in place. And it is one of the most important responsibilities for the success of a district manager. Now, this responsibility requires several skills, actually 4 of them specifically that we defined. And so the first skill that you need to have as a district manager to be successful at planning is the skill of gathering the right information. In this age of information, you could end up in true analysis paralysis by spending times and hours and days just looking at data that's coming from reports, from your POS system, heck, from the office and the industry at large. And the reality is that for you to be an effective district manager, you do need to look at information, but what information you look at is going to be critical, because you cannot be looking at all the information, all the data, all the time, because that will literally paralyze you into action. And so this is what's going to be very important. A skill to have for a district manager is to know what information you need to look at and to be able to discern which one is the right and the important one that you need to look at, and how often you need to look at that information, so that you can then come to the next step or the next skill that you need to have as a district manager. So the second skill that you need to have to be effective at planning your time as a district manager is a skill of prioritization. You need to be able to know what is the difference between the urgent and the important. Because if you don't do that, you might end up spending the majority of your time in the urgent rather than really spending the time in the important, which is what's going to move the business forward. Now, the reality is that there are going to be a lot of urgent things that as district manager, you're going to need to attend to. But having the ability to prioritize those and then quickly refer or go back to the important tasks is going to be a critical skill that you must have as a district manager. Every minute counts, and be able to prioritize your actions every day is going to be very important for you, for your success. Which then brings us to the third skill that a district manager must have to be successful at the responsibility of planning. And that skill is the assignment of tasks. A district manager needs to be able to know how and when to assign their tasks. Some of the tasks they are going to need to do, and some of the tasks they need to be able to delegate. So being able to define which one is which one is going to make a huge impact on how much time they spend doing those tasks, and depending also on how they delegate these tasks, because the ability to delegate tasks is going to be another important skill for a district manager. Being able to delegate a task the proper way not only would allow the district manager to work less hours, or should I say work the hours that they need to have and not work too much, but also will help develop the future leaders in their district. Delegation of tasks is going to be a critical skill that a district manager must have within the assignment of tasks. Some of them they have to do, and they have to find a way to assign those tasks to themselves in their time, and some of them need to be delegated in the right way. Now, to be able to do that, another skill within the skill that they need to have is the use of a calendar. Having the ability to use a calendar the proper way so that they can manage their time and not drop or miss important tasks that they need to do is going to be a critical skill that they need to have to be a successful district manager. So when it comes to the skill of assigning tasks, not only do they need to be able to know what they can delegate and what they must do, but also they need to be able to delegate the right way and use a calendar so that they can assign the task to themselves and to others, so that they can then implement the fourth critical skill for this responsibility, which is the skill of execution and follow-up. So now that they have gathered the right data for them to make the right decisions, now they have learned how to prioritize between the urgent and the important. Now they need to learn how to assign tasks, delegate tasks, delegate tasks and assign tasks to themselves using the calendar. But now is the critical step of execution and follow-up, right? And here's where the magic happens, because you can do all the prior three steps, but if this step of or skill of execution of those assigned tasks and then follow up to make sure that they get done, if you in fact delegate them, here's where the results are happening. And so this is a way that you're going to prevent missing important things, and this is how you're going to be able to make sure that everything that needs to get done gets done. So as you can see, this seventh responsibility of a district manager of planning is critical. And being able to do it the right way is going to be important and a key for the success as the district manager. So if you are a multi-unit franchisee with district managers, or if you are a district manager that, maybe has challenges with some of these responsibilities that we're talking about, I would like to invite you to join us in our upcoming information session on the multi-unit leadership certification program. And in this information session, we share what the program is, how we deliver it, and what should be the outcome that you should expect at the end of this 10-week program. Also, if you would like to learn and hear the next 5 critical responsibilities of a district manager, we're going to continue this video series in each and every one of them. So if you're watching us in our YouTube channel, then give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so that you can be notified of those future videos. And if you're watching this in any of our other platforms, come join us in YouTube so that you can watch all the 7 critical responsibilities so that you can see how you measure up and maybe learn if our development program of multi-unit leadership certification is the program for you. So if that's the case, you want to register to the information session, you can join us at www.districtmanagertraining.com, where you will be able to then, again, go through that information session and learn everything about that program. All right. So having said that, we're going to see you in the next video of the series where we're going to cover the 3rd critical responsibility of a district manager, and that's the responsibility of staffing. Yes, very important. You need to know what is your responsibility as a district manager in the area of staffing. If you're curious to find out what that is, come join us in the next video of this series. Thanks, and we'll see you